guys, welcome back to my channel, Boomy Reactions. My name is Boomy. Thank you for watching, my lovelies. Now today, guys, we're going to be catching up with Andre and Sara, the European couple reacts. But this time, a bit of a different video. So they're going to be exposing the 5 lies that Europeans are told about America. Very, very interesting. So yes, they've been and they've visited the US. They've been to New York. Looks like they've had just the best time ever. And then they went to Texas. So many first-time experiences. Very, very jealous. All of the amazing food that they shared and they've got to eat and try. And oh my gosh, absolutely amazing. So they're back home. And yes, they're going to be telling us a little bit about their travels. And from their perspective, 5 lies that Europeans are told that just aren't true about America. So, right. Now, hearing that, people can be very negative about Americans or about the country, about the USA as a whole, it's not something that I can hold my hands up and say, yes, I've heard an awful lot of British people be very, very rude or have these weird beliefs. I honestly, I don't know where a lot of them come from because I haven't heard a lot of these. These stereotypes, these myths, these things being said. I don't really think that I've heard very many. So it'll be interesting to see the myths that they've been told. And they're going to debunk all of them by the sounds of it. So let's see what they're going to tell us about their travel, shall we, guys? I love seeing the videos with Sara in them as well. I think she's so adorable. Right, okay, guys, let's crack on with the video. I do an awful lot of talking, you know me. As ever, if you're enjoying these reactions, my lovelies, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Thank you so much. If you're interested, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account, and that link is over here. And if you would like to help support my channel any further, I do have a Patreon account, and that link, if you wish to use it, is in the description below.
Hey y'all!
Hey y'all!
1 month ago we visited America, and today is a difficult day for us. Why, Sara? Tell them.
We miss America.
Oh, we miss America so much. That said, we bring a special video, and I think you guys are going to like this one, because we thought a lot about this. We are going to share with you 5 lies, in this case 10, 5 each person, that people told us about America that, guess what, they are not true at all. That said, Sara, ask them for the most important thing.
Guys, leave a like, thumbs up.
And subscribe.
You make our day.
Damn right. Sara, start with the first one.
Cities are dirty. I was in...
Wait, that's not true.
No, I was impressed by how New York was clean.
Yeah, New York,
Yeah.
my friends, this is true. I also felt that New York, because people told us, oh, in New York, you guys will see 2 things, squirrels and rats. And we saw a lot of squirrels,
Yes.
but not rats.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually saw 1 rat. I have to admit.
Just one, yeah.
Just one. But in general, now being very serious, the city was very clean.
I expecting for a big city like New York to be
very dirty.
chaotic and dirty, but it wasn't.
No.
I think maybe that's where does that even come from? Assuming that it's going to be filthy. Maybe it's because of how big of a city it is, how busy and bustling it is. So naturally, people assume it's going to be dirty. Now, I've got to be completely honest, guys. I've seen a few reactors and YouTubers making their way through the through the US and on their journeys, visiting these big cities, and not once. In fact, I think I comment on it every time we see somewhere else. How clean it is, how well maintained the streets are. Then it's like that. It couldn't be further from that. I've never once seen any video from anyone that has led me to believe like, oh yeah, no, that city's not as well kept as New York is, or from what I've seen. I don't even think it's a case of the videos that I've seen, they just tend to be on like the big main streets. I don't think that's the case. Residential streets, they're always really, really clean and well maintained. And, from a Brit, guys, doesn't the saying go that anywhere you are in London, at any given point, you are never more than a metre away from a rat? So I'm not offended by rats, I guess. But the only place I've ever seen them actually is in my old workplace. That's a city centre. That is not London. It is very far away from London, you know, by Brit standards anyway, you know, good like 100 miles away. But yeah, talking about Chester, beautiful city, but yeah, there were rats. I mean, they were quite cute, to be fair. They weren't malicious, a bit hard-faced. Would come like quite close to you and just look you square in the eyes and be like, okay, bye. Anyway,
New York impressed me a lot. I also agree. What about San Antonio in Texas?
Yeah,
The same.
Yeah, the same.
Very tidy and clean.
It was clean too. Yeah.
I felt San Antonio was even more. I mean, is a small city compared with New
It's
York.
different, yeah.
But Texas was incredible. It was an incredible experience and very, very clean also. But
It looks it.
personally, I end up enjoying both experience, New York and San Antonio.
Yes, right.
Completely different, my friends, right?
Yes.
But in terms of feeling safe, clean, everything in America, at least for us, my friends, we have nothing bad to say.
I wonder if this is going to be one of the myths that are being debunked here. So there does tend to be this misconception that New York might not be a safe place, but I think that goes hand in hand with any major city, any big city, any capital city. Like, I mean, the crime rate in London has got to be on some par to do, you know, like similar to the crime rate in New York. So maybe this is just something that's, you know, goes on with big cities. But I would imagine there is a misconception that maybe New York isn't very safe. I personally do not have that mentality. I wouldn't assume that, but I don't know.
Do you want to say anything more about this one?
No.
No?
I
Okay.
agree with you. Yeah.
Okay, my first one. Everything is expensive in America. And guess what, my friends? It's not true. I'm sorry. Gas was quite cheap. We went to Walmart a couple of times. My friends, Walmart is as cheap or even cheaper than what we have here. I mean, no joke. And Portugal is not even a country that is on the top of the list in Europe, you know. So I suspect in France things may be quite more expensive than in America because we are comparing this with our small country, right?
Compared to the UK.
So everything being expensive in America, I really don't believe it's true. There is certain things that I also I understand they are a bit more expensive, but think about this: housing. My friends, housing here is a nightmare. You know, we saw homes in Texas. I know there is some taxes and stuff like that we are not counting, but just for the sake of the video, that are like 300,000 cars. For example, if I want to buy the Mustang, it's quite more expensive here.
Likes that Mustang.
So honestly, I really felt that there is some things that are a bit more expensive in America, but a lot of things and important things, I felt they are actually cheaper. I know this may shock you, but at least it is what we end up experiencing there. Sarah, tell your second. I was about to say culture shock, but lie that you believe it, that is not true.
Yes. Oh, just before we move on to the next one, that is a very interesting one. I think maybe the fairest measure is probably to look at the standard of living costs. Here in the UK, if anyone has listened to any Brits whinge and complain about this, the cost of living is substantially increased. It has gone up over the last 5 or 6 years, particularly. So yes, living is just so much more expensive. Groceries are more expensive. Our fuel. Let's talk about fuel. That's a very, very interesting one because as far as I'm aware, we are one of the more expensive places in Europe for gas, petrol, diesel. I don't think there's any other country in Europe that is more expensive. Maybe there is, or maybe on par with the UK. But at the minute, we pay £1. I think it goes up and down. It's about £1.40 for a litre of diesel, and then about 10 pence cheaper for a litre of petrol. So, UK brain, convert that into dollars. What's that? That's got to be $1.90 for a litre I'd say that's diesel, so maybe 10 pence cheaper for petrol. So I'm led to believe that your rates are much better for fuel. So yeah, things are up and down. You know, some things will be more expensive, some things will be cheaper. But yeah, that's one source of annoyance for a lot of Brits is the cost of fuel.
Cities are violent. When I knew we were
Going to New York.
I
was afraid of.
I was afraid of being robbed. But when we were arrived,
you automatically realize that it's more safe, right?
Yeah, I was amazed by the number of police on the street.
In New York?
Yes.
New York. The New York police is actually very famous. But I agree with you,
NYPD.
I mean, at the end of the day, when we talk about New York, there was people specific on the Sunday Live saying, "Oh, be very careful in New York," stuff like that. And of course, it's a big city, and I know there is crime, but I never felt unsafe in New York.
I'm not sure if it was because we were in Manhattan.
Central Manhattan, we also didn't went to regions that are a bit more problematic. That's fair, right? And we also didn't even end up using public transportation there. If we end up using Uber, so walking, most of the time walking actually. So there is that. But New York felt safe to me. What about Texas?
I think it's just about being sensible sometimes, isn't it? Like if you know you're going to a major city with a huge population, a capital city, big city, you should just be aware, vigilant, take advice from people that live there, the do's and don'ts. I would, and listen to maybe don't take this mode of transport late at night. Don't go, avoid that area where possible. There are nice cities throughout the UK. Like I said, I'm going to keep using Chester as an example because, I've lived there. Lovely. It's a beautiful city. It is a very safe city. But there are parts of that city where you should avoid after dark, or you should avoid if you are walking on your own late at night. It's the same. I think you just got to apply a little bit of common sense when you're in these bigger cities.
The same.
I felt
the same.
My friends, to me, it was not the same. This may sound controversial. I felt more safe in Texas than I feel it.
Because of the cowboys.
No, not because of the cowboys. No, but the city, I thought the city was very safe. Honestly.
Yes.
Very safe. I mean, and I know if things go bad, there is people that... No, but I'm joking a bit, my friends. But Texas felt even more safe than New York. I mean, again... not as big, but no, Texas is bigger, but the city, San Antonio, not as big.
Austin, we went to
Austin felt a bit different. Austin and San Antonio, my friends, not sure if you guys agree, but for us it was almost two different. They are very close,
right?
But totally different.
But I felt that
they are different locations.
And I almost felt different mentalities.
Right. Yeah,
okay.
I agree with you.
More conservative in San Antonio, more liberal in. But again,
I've heard this. Austin is like the place to go for like the youngsters and the hipsters for summer, and cool music, and do you know what I mean? Maybe slightly more liberal leaning. I don't know how you would word it, but I've often heard it described as a little bit more of a hipster place, a bit more of a youthful destination, if you like.
I could be saying something totally wrong, my friends. Felt very different, Austin to San Antonio. And if we go to Houston, Dallas in the future, probably it will also feel different.
Yes,
Think about this, Texas, my friends, and a lot of you guys know, but it's important to always put this in perspective. Texas is 18 times bigger than our country. So, my friends, of course, for us, it was overwhelming, as you can imagine. I think now is my turn, right?
Yes.
So, I'm so sorry, my friend, but I had to stop the video. I was looking at my statistics on YouTube, and guess what? Most of my viewers are not subscribers. How the hell is that possible? Please consider to do it if you are one of
Like
those.
and subscribe.
That said, we are not done. Another thing, if you can follow me on social media, links below. That would mean the world to me. You make my day, as you are aware. There is also a Patreon link below, and you may find some country music reactions. Take a look. You can join for free, actually.
I love Andre's hat.
That said, let's continue with this. Honestly, I really thought this would be true. A lie again. Traffic or driving in America is problematic. I would say one thing. I didn't drive in New York, and in New York is true. Seems quite problematic to drive there. That said, in San Antonio, Austin, driving, it was, I would say, an amazing experience because so many lanes, there is always traffic, to be fair.
Yes.
But the amount of lanes makes things very fluid, goes very well. So this is something that I think is not even for you, my friends, that I'm saying this. Is for other Europeans that may saw this video, that here people think, oh, driving there, it will be a nightmare. It wasn't, to be fair. Of course, I don't know if you go to California, Florida, maybe in Miami in Florida, Los Angeles in California, maybe that is completely crazy to drive.
Completely different, maybe.
And you know what's funny?
I think it's just like a regional thing, maybe. Like, you know, like they're saying New York, a bit more problematic if you're going to drive through New York. If you drove through London, you'd have a completely different experience as to driving through Leeds or York. You know what I mean? It's big cities are going to attract a lot of business and a lot of traffic. So I 100% see that. I get it. That honking must have sounded really, really random. When I think of New York, obviously the idea of the traffic, those symphonies, or the siren, you know, it's just city life, isn't it?
They told me that in, I believe, is not sure if it's Dallas or Houston, but I believe it's Houston. My friends, confirm this in the comments if you can. That that's the region in Texas that is the most problematic to drive. Again, I cannot say for sure if this is true, but I ended up reading this when I did a live with them. But yeah, it was quite easy, my friends, to be quite frank, to drive in America. Not a nightmare at all. Sarah?
Americans eat fast food all the time.
Wait, that's not true?
No, of course, Americans don't only eat fast food. It's true, there are more fast food restaurants than in Europe.
By far. We have to admit, by far. But
we went to a place where we ate good traditional local food.
Yeah, my friends, the thing about America, now being serious here, is that the different cuisines they have. Tex-Mex, Texas barbecue. They also have soul food. They have comfort food. They have Italian food, Portuguese food. I didn't saw Portuguese food actually. Kind of a shame, America. You guys need to improve that. But for real, I agree with you. I mean, but this stereotype, I would say, is quite common here. That, in America, if you want to eat, you have to go to Burger King or McDonald's. Yes. Not true at all. We actually went, I would say, rare. We end up trying Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, and Whataburger. 3 spots. But we end up staying in America for 14 days or something. So not a lot, my friends. There was a lot of options, and I totally agree with that one. It's my third, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, before we move on, right? Do you know? I think that might be an unfair assumption about a lot of Americans eating junk food in particular. Now, it might be that you guys dine out a lot more than us, especially comparing that to the UK. And there's a glaringly obvious reason for that. And it is one that will probably upset people in the UK. It does upset us actually, because dining out is too expensive in the UK. Oh, my camera has lost focus. There we go. I think it's because it's looking at the mascots. yeah, so dining out in the UK has become increasingly expensive to a point where it's not something that we can do every week unless you're on a very, very good wage. Um, we can't go out for meals like once a week because we've started the tipping culture as well. We imitate an awful lot of what you do in the US. So on top of tipping, which is basically, I mean, it's not compulsory, but they add it automatically onto your bill. It's not optional a lot of the time now. Food, the cost of food has increased. The minimum wage has increased, which it's great. But all of these things add up. So the cost of eating out is a lot higher than it ever has been. But on top of that, because of the increase in food prices, etc., the quality has not increased with the increase in cost. So a lot of people won't eat out now. A lot of people, we're paying more for a poor quality of food. So a lot of people don't do it. So maybe we're jealous. So that might be a reason why you guys dine out more than we do. But I think a lot of it comes from a lot of fast food chains originate from the US and then they come over and then they franchise out in other countries. So maybe it's that association as well.
My third is, and
Maybe.
this one, people told me, and I also thought it was true. Texas is a desert. I thought Texas was kind of like Arizona, for example, my friends. In my mind,
Yeah.
Texas and Arizona, same state.
I thought too.
They're neighbors, but not the
But I
same.
end up realizing it's not true. Texas actually have different climates. For example, San Antonio. Again, my friends, you can correct me in the comment section if you want, because this is something that I believe is true, but I'm not sure. At least the experience we had there, it was that San Antonio have a lot of mountains, actually.
Yes.
They also have the hill country, so there is that. And it was very green. It was a completely different than what I thought. I guess if we want to experience desert, maybe only New Mexico and Arizona.
Oh,
I'm not sure even if there is desert in Texas at this point. Texas seemed like very green. I was kind of shocked. Again, is that only San Antonio and Austin? Should be, right? It should be. That said, my friends, I know this may sound dumb to you, but I really thought Texas was basically a desert. A beautiful place, because I also think, for example, one of the states I want to visit the most is actually Arizona. So I like that type of
Climate.
picture in my head,
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
But, and even driving in those roads seems really cool.
Do you know, I like to have, or I like to guess answers for a lot of these things. I think these assumptions come from the fact that there's not many countries, especially like Europe. We don't have, or the continent that we live on doesn't have like a different climate or a different weather system, an entirely different place per state, because that's what it is. You are basically like 50 different countries all in one continent. And it's that idea that actually maybe I don't think we can fathom the size of the US until you're actually there and you realize, oh, the neighboring state is in a 10-minute drive. So it's the sheer size of it as well. But I do think, yeah, there is an assumption that the neighboring state is going to have exactly the same climate, and it's not true at all. So I think maybe they factor into maybe assuming things like Texas has got to have the same climate as Arizona, and vice versa.
But is your fourth
Yes, yes. Americans are overweight. Oh, come on. It's
Not
not
true.
true.
I don't think that's any more so than
We
most
saw
places.
people of all shapes and
All
size, but it was hard to realize because American food is so tempting.
I end up gaining 4 kilos. How much is that in pounds? maybe 10 pounds or something. I don't even know. No, but I agree. That's a very common
I do
stereotype
so.
that people in America are fat. We saw people that are in incredible shape, people
Yes,
that are
yeah.
normal, people that are a bit
quite
small,
polarizing, isn't
overweight.
it?
Yes.
Look, real talk. I'm European, I'm overweight, my friend. So there is that, right? It is what it is. But I agree. And I think that's one of the things that people really think about America. And when they are there, they realize
It's not true.
maybe it's true to a certain extent, but it's completely overblown.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
But I also agree with that one a lot. You want to say anything more?
No.
What do you know? I think the takeaway from having these stereotypes. Oh, that's American. No, doesn't want that again. Yeah, I think the takeaway from this is that you just can't apply stereotypes for the entire of the US. You're too big. No, you can't do it. And we shouldn't stereotype anyway, should we really? But you've got polar opposites. You've got, yes, maybe statistically obesity incidences is higher in the US, but in the same breath, you've got, is it California that's like the health capital of the US? So you've just got two completely polarizing things. So you couldn't really say, well, one or the other. Or maybe it's that both are true. It's just, it's not impossible that both things coincide. I know what I mean.
Okay. So my number 4, sale taxes and tipping both are a nightmare for Europeans. Well, okay, this one is interesting because I also thought, I was thinking, oh my god, tipping in America, how the hell do I know how much I need to? Okay, my friends, it's easy. First of all, the sale taxes, I don't think about them. I just pay them. So they are not difficult. I just not think about them. I think, okay, I need to have a little bit more than what I'm thinking about to pay, but that's it. I guess Americans probably are the same. Don't even think about the sale taxes. About tipping. Tipping is a bit different, but I felt tipping is quite easy because specific at a restaurant, they bring you the machine and you have the option 5%, 10%, 20%, no tip. And for me, my friends, it was always 20% because you guys told me to do that. So quite easy about tipping.
Yes.
For me, it's more awkward when you go to a coffee shop and you have to tip, then they only have cash, and then I start.
You
oh my
have
God,
to.
no. So a lot of you guys already know this. I went to a coffee shop that it was $5 the coffee. I only had a $10 bill, and I could not ask the person for change. I said, take the $10 and that's it.
It's awkward.
It's a bit awkward. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Is 5, make it 7. That sounds really bad, right, my friends? They are probably, Andre, we do that all the time. And in my mind, is 7% or is take
You
10.
have to do the
Take 10.
math.
Take 10, that's it. But in general, I would say it's
I
actually
think I'd do
quite
the
easy
same.
because of the credit cards and stuff like that. They give you the option. So I felt quite easy both. And it's something that a lot of, when you see the videos about culture shocks, people always say, oh, be careful with tipping, be careful with sale taxes, stuff like that.
Yes.
But when you are in America, after one day or two, it's very, very easy
It
to
doesn't
deal
become a
with that,
huge
right?
problem. Yeah.
Is your 5?
Yes.
Okay.
All Americans carry guns.
Oh,
Not all.
no.
We didn't saw nobody with guns except the police.
I mean, yeah.
Except the police, yes. This must be a myth. Do you think?
No, it's
think
not
a
a myth. No,
regional
I
thing
mean,
as well.
I think it's
Area.
specific in certain states. You can see people, I guess they say open carrying again. We never saw that in Texas, my friends. New York, I'm not even saying, but in Texas, we never saw that. And I thought we would see someone with a gun or something.
Yes.
But never end up happening. Probably they have guns, they just don't show them.
Or probably the most people keep the gun
moment.
at home.
And that's what makes more
home
sense.
safe.
Or it's not allowed in public in
But you-
in some states.
Yes.
You don't know.
It
You think all
changes
the
from one
people
state to another,
that
doesn't
at
it?
the cowboy hat driving trucks don't have again in... I don't know. But I'm being honest, my friends. Maybe there is one in the car.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
No, but jokes aside, we didn't saw anyone carrying again. So because again, this may sound dumb to you, my friends, but a lot of people believe this and felt very safe in America, to be honest. And I
Yeah.
didn't saw it, but I felt safe.
I think this is just like a cultural difference because I'd say every country in Europe, I think, there's most of us will never see a gun. I have never ever seen one, ever, even on a policeman, which is totally normal out here. So I think it's just the fact that they're casual in certain places in the US. Maybe it leads to this assumption, which is a bit uninformed, misleading.
My fifth point, the restrooms gap. Oh, sorry. The restrooms gaps are huge, are messy. My friends,
Doors.
Google right now or put on YouTube 10 culture shocks about America. Everyone that does those type of videos, they always mention that the gaps are insane.
Huge.
Well, what if you get locked in?
Real
You'll be able to roll
talk,
out.
they are a bit big than they are here.
Yeah.
That's true. But it's nothing special.
The first time I saw a gap in the restroom, I found
You found it a bit weird?
strange. Yeah, but then I thought, we are all women, so it's fine.
No, but I mean I didn't felt that it was invasive or something. I thought people had privacy.
You could see, yeah.
I didn't felt that, to be honest. But no, but I agree that they are a bit bigger. That's for sure. You notice that automatic. But I just think maybe I shouldn't say it's a lie because it's true actually. So this one.
I think a lot of people just don't like other people seeing like the colour of the knickers or the pattern on there, like in the women's anyway, you know, if the caps are bigger.
Take with a grain of salt. But the thing is, I think it's overblown for what it is, right? I think people make it like, you know what?
Yeah.
Everyone is looking at you while you are pooping.
I think it's more of a comical thing.
That is not true. It's just not true,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But for me, it's just because it's a bit overblown. We had probably more 10, 15, maybe 50 culture shocks that we could share with you, my friends, or myths that we end up realizing are not true. Put a number out there if you should do part 2.
200.
200 likes? No, sir. We get 200 likes.
500.
No, put thousands.
1,000.
Yes.
We get that in 1 hour. We are big on YouTube. No, put a number, but on the thousand. 5? 5,000? Okay, 5,200. That's like 1 hour for us nowadays. No, but yeah. Well, I guess those 10 are good enough for today.
Yeah.
And I guess we can say this almost sure at this point. We are going to visit America again eventually. When?
We don't know.
We don't know.
When?
Will be next year. Maybe. We have to see, my friends. But for sure, we will be back. And probably different state this time. But again, everything is still up in the air. We don't know for sure. We know that we miss America. And I guess that's the most important thing. I would say also one thing. Thank you so much, right, all of them for the support. Because the videos in America have been doing incredible. So thank you for that. There is actually a playlist if you want to see all of them together. And that's it. Sara, say goodbye to our friends.
Bye, guys.
Bye, my friends.
Very, very interesting. A lot of differences. I think the culture shocks, like Andre said, that there must be so many. If you sat down and thought about them, you could probably reel off a lot more. I am surprised. One thing that I did think was going to come up, but actually, if you've only really visited Texas and New York, maybe not so much. But from what I can see, watching videos of all these destinations in different states and places, wonderful places in America, I would say that most foreigners, most people that live outside of the US, when we think of tourist destinations or visiting the US, we'll always think of going to the same places. New York, Florida, Miami, maybe California. And I would say watching all these videos has opened my eyes as to the amazing places in between all of these places that you need to go and visit. They're not the first thought places for a tourist hotspot, but that makes them more of a hidden gem. Or they'd be a hidden gem for us anyway, coming from outside the US. So yeah, I would implore people to go and explore the states that they hadn't immediately thought of to go on holiday. Do you know what I mean? I thought maybe something like that would pop up. But I think you'd have to do a bit more exploring, wouldn't you? Well, Andre, Sarah, there's time. Where do you think they're going to go to next? I reckon California. You've got to do California. It's on my bucket list to literally go to every state. And then even in every state, I've got like a growing list of all places that I want to see and foods I want to try. Obviously, being a foodie. But yes, very, very interesting. I think we need more videos like this to inform everyone of all of the kind of, myth-busting stereotypes that just aren't true. I'd love to know where a lot of them come from. It would make me laugh to listen to Brits talk about dirty cities, because a lot of ours aren't spotless. So maybe that doesn't come from British people. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching along with me. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.